Hello, what is up guys? I'm your host Gordon and welcome to another one of my videos. And what I got over here is the Dartzone Max Outlaw. And by the time of this video, if you guys are from Malaysia, this might not be out yet. I will pin a comment down below as soon as the release of this blaster is confirmed. So feel free to come back time to time and check out the comment section. I know it is a little late, but this blaster over here is one of the most revolutionary blaster that is being created by Dart Zone over here. I mean, imagine having a finger prime high performance revolver style foam dart blaster. That is super cool. Holy moly. In the box, we got the blaster itself, a pair of cylinder, some darts, safety goggle, and a manual. Okay, first look at the blaster. As you can see, the aesthetic of the blaster is kinda similar with a blaster from Dart Zone. If we actually put a Deuce Pro side to side, it kinda have the shadow of the Deuce Pro in there a little bit, especially the front part of the blaster and especially the cylinder of the blaster. Just that the Outlaw over here is a little bit longer because there is a barrel in there, unlike the Deuce Pro where you have to attach an additional barrel for the extra FPS. And not to mention that you need two hands to kind of operate the Deuce Pro over here, which is a downside if you're in a very fast-paced situation. This over here will solve all your problems. But let us take a look at the build quality of this blaster first. So as compared to older Dart Zone blaster, I mean their build quality had improved tremendously. I mean the moment when you hold the blaster on hand, immediately you felt the level of solidness that this entire blaster is giving out. I mean there is absolutely no plastic flex or whatsoever, not to mention that there is absolutely no plastic sound as well. I mean when you hold it on hand, there is some weight to it. I mean of course there are some metal parts on this blaster. Let us take a look at the metal parts. The first metal part is of course the metal barrel in there, which is good. The priming lever over here is made out of metal, which is very important for such a high performance blaster because the prime is a little tough, because in fast-paced scenario you tend to treat the blaster a little rough. I mean having one of these important parts being metal in terms of durability is not an issue at all. I mean we got some pretty heavy prime over here, but the prime itself is actually pretty smooth. It is heavy but not too heavy to the point that you felt really uncomfortable to prime the blaster. I really do like how this lever over here spring right back up after priming the blaster. It felt really smooth. These wordings over here are made out of plastic separation. That kind of attention to details only applies to Dart Zone's blasters. The grip of the blaster is obviously made for big hands people like me, which is really nice to hold, very comfortable, really a big fan of this grip over here. And of course the trigger pull of the blaster, it is very solid, it is as Dart Zone as it can get. And the moment when you actually pull the trigger, the barrel in there actually moves front and back, which kind of acts like a seal to the darts before you actually fire the blaster. With such a high performance blaster, of course we're gonna have a safety switch over here because this is being advertised as a over 100 FPS blaster. I mean that is very cool though. In terms of Picatinny rails, the blaster does not really come with any Picatinny rail. There's no rail at the top, no rail at the bottom, so I don't think you have a lot of options for your like sights or something like that. Perhaps you can kind of attach some sort of a flashlight below here because this is kind of a shape of a Picatinny rail but without the rail stripes on it. Let us try to put something in there. It actually kind of works. So yeah, I think you can definitely put on a flashlight over here. Speaking of sight, it does come with a pair of iron sight which is not detachable. Pretty accurate I would say because I've tested this blaster in a couple of games. And since this blaster being a cylinder fed blaster, fortunate enough this blaster does not face the exact same problem like the Deuce Pro. The darts in the cylinder will not fall out no matter how hard you shake it out. And speaking about the cylinder over here, the blaster does come with an additional cylinder for you to, you know, pop it out and swap in a new cylinder quickly, just like the previous Deuce Pro. But I'm kind of curious, will the Deuce Pro cylinder fits in the Outlaw over here? Let us check it out. Well, it does look kind of similar, and the answer is it kind of fits, but it is pretty loose, so we are not gonna use the cylinder from the Deuce Pro. There is actually two ways for you to load in a dart, pretty simple. The first way, you can just pop up the cylinder and just throw in a fresh cylinder full of darts in there, or you can just shove in the dart just like so, because there is a groove over here for you to like shove in the dart very easily, and the darts will just stay in there really good. You can just spin the cylinder, align the dart over here, and just push it in just like so. Pretty simple. So I guess that's all of the quirks and features of this blaster over here. Surprisingly enough, a very simple blaster, nothing too much to talk about it. So without further ado, let us go test the blaster out. Ooh, I mean, that balancing though is very good for blaster spinning. So yep, let's test the blaster out. Okay, we are back, guys. So the performance of the blaster is advertised. It can goes around 119 FPS all the way to 123 FPS. Pretty decent performance as a sidearm. And of course, in terms of accuracy, this blaster is pretty accurate in 10 meters. Hitting a target in 8 to 10 meters is definitely not a problem at all. I mean, I'm gonna give it a lot of plus for this one. The iron sight of this blaster is actually very accurate. And of course, operating this blaster, I did not encounter any abnormality. I did not encounter any jams, which is a good thing. There is no dart dropping or whatsoever. And so far, I did not even encounter any dart skipping issue like the Deuce Pro over here, which is again a plus. All in all, I am very satisfied with this blaster. And of course, will this blaster pass the wall test? I mean, when we actually put the blaster on the wall full of Dartzone blaster, this blaster actually looks pretty nice. So yeah, I guess that's all of it. A pretty short, simple review of this blaster. I like simple blasters. Again, as soon as the blaster is available in Malaysia, I will pin a comment down below, so feel free to always check the comment time to time. So yep, if you guys like this video, feel free to smash on the like button. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. So yep, Gordon's checking out, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Yadios, guys!